This video, I'm going to take you all around the Ovation of the Seas, a Quantum class cruise ship now sailing out of Los Angeles in addition to Singapore and Seattle. Ovation and the Quantum class are unique ships with some amazing features never before seen, like the North Star observation pod, skydiving simulator, and even bumper cars for the first time ever on a cruise ship. I'm not a travel agent or a YouTube celebrity. I paid for this trip with my own money, so I'm going to give you my honest review about this ship and all its pros and cons. Well, let's pull back the curtain and take a closer look. My name's Scott and this is my channel, Let's All Cruise. We're going to start the tour on deck 15, which is just one up from the pool deck, where you'll find a running track, and we're going to have a good look at the pool area. This ship has both an outdoor pool and an indoor pool as well. That's great because it's not always warm and sunny on the California coastline. It can be very grey and overcast and cold. So this ship is really multi-purpose. It can go to warm climates and it can go to cold ones like Alaska as well, which it usually does in the summer. So I did go in the North Star. That's the observation pod that you can see here. So we'll get to that later, but let's start the tour and we'll keep going and we'll head round towards the aft of deck 15. So we have a running track here and it is marked for the start line, the direction that you should be walking around it, and which side to stick to if you're running versus walking. Well, let's head through this door on the left and check out the Seaplex, a multi-purpose venue. This can be used as sports courts during the day or bumper cars at night. I also saw roller skating here as well. And they have other attractions like Xboxes and even ping pong tables as well, you can see there. And near the main entrance, there's also the usual arcade games available for an extra cost. Now, if you get hungry while you're up here, one of the inclusive food options is the Seaplex Doghouse, of course, serving hot dogs. And it was usually open in the afternoons. Royal Caribbean are very intentional about how they design their ships and spread different food venues throughout, which also helps spread around the passengers so people don't congregate all in one area. So we're right at the back of deck 15 and we're going to head up to deck 16, which is where we're going to find the Flow Rider, the surfing simulator, as well as the skydiving simulator, Ripcord by iFly. I didn't try this out, but did you? If so, leave a comment. This was a new attraction on the Quantum class, but of course the Flow Rider we have seen on some other ships as well. So we're right at the back of the ship. Let's head forward and see what else is on offer here. And first up, you're going to see the climbing wall on the left. And next to that, we've got a first of many photo ops. We've got the panda bears, and that's a clue that this ship was actually originally intended to sail in China. Now, it has done a bit of that, and it's definitely spent a lot of time in Asia, but Royal Caribbean are now bringing this ship over to the US more of the year as well. I am sailing on Quantum of the Seas later this year. I'm also from Los Angeles, and they have different animal in place of the pandas. So we have the Seaplex here on our left. We're on the starboard side of the ship, heading towards midships to the pool there in the middle, then to the North Star, the observation pod, and behind that we've got the indoor pool area. So we'll look at all of these things. But first, back here to the main pool deck, and you'll notice on the left there, that splashaway bay, that's the only water slide on this ship. So it doesn't have the giant slides that some of the other ships, like Navigator of the Seas, for example, has on board. It also doesn't have a mini golf. I don't know if that's a deal breaker for you, but it doesn't have mini golf either. This is also where you see the big screen on the right hand side. This is where they do show movies under the stars at night. Under the North Star itself, we've got the North Star bar, and that's one of 4 bars up here on the pool decks. If you want to see the bar menus, just go to my website, letsallcruise.com. Well, I was super excited to go on the North Star. Ever since I'd seen one of these Quantum class ships years ago when they came out, I wanted to sail on this ship. So very exciting to finally rise up above the deck of the ship to a maximum height of 300 feet above sea level. There's 2 types of experiences you can do. One is the basic experience that just goes up and down. And then there's the full experience that swings out over the side of the ship. And that's what I did. It is very disconcerting to go out over the side of the ship and look down and see the sea beneath you. But I love my experience. I think if you don't like heights, it's probably not for you. The basic experience that just goes up and down, that's $10. The full experience is $40. And sometimes they actually do the free basic experience, I think on port days, depending on how busy they are. Now we're at the forward end of the ship here. We're actually directly above the Solarium, which is the adults only area. We'll get to that. And we're also right next to the fitness center and the spa, and I'll show you both of those as well. We're just heading around the port side here towards midships, and before we get midships, we'll duck in and take a look at the indoor pool area. Inside we've got the pool. We've got 2 large whirlpools, just like we do on the outside pool deck, and a pool bar. I mentioned how flexible the ship is because the roof here can retract and open up. Well, let's take a quick look inside. We're going to go up to deck 16 and we're still forward, and we're going to have a look at the fitness center, which is up here. Well, with a ship that has a double occupancy capacity of 4,200 people, you'd expect a large fitness center, and this one is huge. All the kind of machines that you would expect to see. There's weights as well that you can lift, but there's treadmills, there's bicycles, there's ellipticals, you name it, you're going to find it up here. We're going to head back down to 15 and we'll take a quick look in the spa. Now, I'm a huge fan of thermal suites inside spas, so I bought the pass for the duration of my cruise. And before we get there, just show you the salon, the beauty salon here on the right hand side. The thermal suite area is quite nice, but it's not very big. There's only 6 hot beds, and while there's no view to the outside, there is at least daylight. There's also a sauna and a steam room. Oh, we're back out on deck 15, heading towards the aft. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting a bit sick and tired of this grey weather. Here we are in Ensenada, and it's early June. Let's see if we can improve it. There you go, that's better. Still in Ensenada. You can see how changeable the weather can be. And if you haven't sailed on the California coastline, do be aware that May grey and June gloom is a thing. Well, we're going to go back inside. We're going to drop down 1 level and we're going to check out the Windjammer, which of course is the buffet on board a Royal Caribbean ship. If you're afraid of heights, just close your eyes for the next few seconds because I want to show this really cool glass box that's in between the decks on 15 and 14. And if you look down, you can see all the way down to deck 4. Pretty cool. Now, before we get to the Windjammer, let's take a quick look at Coastal Kitchen. This is the private dining room for suite class guests to dine in and is not available on Navigator or Voyager of the Seas, a couple of the other ships that sail out of Los Angeles. Here's the Windjammer, one of the main inclusive dining options on board this ship. And like all Royal Caribbean ships, there are hand washing stations before you enter. Now, the Windjammer isn't open the whole day long, but it's open for a lot of the day. And when it's closed, there's definitely plenty of other options on board, like Sorrento's for pizza, the doghouse that we saw earlier, and even fish and chips, which I will show you later as well. There's a huge selection of food available on the Windjammer from all over the world, including a dedicated Asian section, Indian food, there's Mexican food, there's a bakery, carvery, deli, desserts, fruit, salad, soups, and even vegetarian food as well. One day I went to the Windjammer for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I took photos of pretty much everything that was out and available to eat, and I posted all of those pictures on my website in a blog post. Just go to letsallcruise.com to check that out. I really appreciate that at the back of this Windjammer there is this outdoor area. That can be really nice because, to be honest, the buffet actually was one of the areas where it could get quite crowded. Having said that, I was always able to find a table either right at the back of the buffet, inside or outside. Windjammer also offers complimentary water, lemonade, fruit punch, as well as tea and coffee. There's also a separate bar and a separate coffee bar where they do make Starbucks-style drinks in here as well. Well, the buffet is the aft of deck 14. We're just heading towards midships here. We're going to check out the pool deck, and I'll show you one of the other free food venues I mentioned, Fish and Chips, which is open on afternoons, serving, guess what, fish and chips. But they do also offer chicken fingers, fried shrimp, a crispy fish sandwich, and if you want to pay an upgrade, you can get a lobster tail and chips too. Fish and Chips is a pretty unique venue for Royal Caribbean. I believe it's only on 2 ships. And just to point out, this ship does not have Johnny Rockets, but it does have soft serve, as you would expect. I think there would be a riot if there wasn't soft serve, and that's available free of charge for everyone to enjoy. But this area right at the front of the pool deck is not for everyone to enjoy. In fact, it is adults only. It is the glassed-in Solarium. You can see it here, just above the bridge. If you look on either side, there are these wings that you can get out and take in a fantastic view of the ship from an angle you wouldn't normally get to see. So it is adults only in here, and a couple of years ago, Royal Caribbean did change that from 16 and up to 18 and up instead. I don't know if that's because there's a bar here. I mean, there's bars all over the ship, but this bar is open every day, usually until about 10 p.m. at night. So it's quite common to see people in here at night as well. And it's definitely quieter at night. During the daytime, as you can see, it's pretty busy, but there's a lot of whirlpools and there's quite a lot of space for everyone. So if we head down here to the front, you'll see that we're very close to the bow. And if I take a right or a left, there is this outside area where you can have a really cool view and take a look at the whole of the ship. I mentioned that as I sailed on her, she was 9 years old, and I think the ship is in great shape, being very well maintained, very little rust, and the bedrooms are great. I did a separate review video of the stateroom, which was really nice, very modern, nice decor, USB ports, very comfortable. And I read an interesting fact, which is that the staterooms on the Quantum class are 9% larger than on the Oasis class, which is the class that came immediately before, and were of course the world's largest cruise ships until the Icon appeared. Well, tucked away here at the back of the Solarium is Solarium Bistro, and this is another inclusive food venue which is open for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and it's mostly equivalent to the food that you're going to find in the buffet. But again, it's another way for Royal to spread out the passengers around the ship so that it's not crazy busy in any one spot. Well, heading back towards the indoor pool, I did want to point out what a nice space this is, and it's actually open until 10 p.m. at night. So this is the latest opening pool out of all of the ones on board. Back through to the main pool, the outdoor pool is open until 8 p.m. every evening, but it's also just a beautiful spot at night. And the North Star does operate up until about 8 p.m., but that's going to be weather and destination dependent. Well, we're exactly halfway through the video. We've covered all of the upper decks of the ship, including the Solarium, the fitness center, the indoor pool, the outdoor pool, the kiddies pool play area, the Seaplex with the bumper cars, as well as the surf simulator and the skydiving simulator. So let's head inside and we're going to take a look at all of the rest of the ship has to offer. Now, before we go downstairs, I do want to show you something that's all the way at the back of Deck 12. And this is for suite guests and also Pinnacle members. It is the Concierge Lounge. It's a beautiful space right at the back of the ship with stunning views. Well, as I got back to the elevator lobby, I noticed the stowaway and his piano in one of the elevators, and I couldn't resist. I hopped in for a quick second. If you want to try a sing-along in an elevator, this is your chance. Okay, we're down on Deck 4, and this is one of 3 main interior decks with public areas on them. And we're just approaching what on this ship is called the Royal Esplanade, but on other classes of Royal ship is called the Royal Promenade. It's just a slightly different design, and those stairs lead down to the casino on Deck 3, which is huge. But here in Deck 4, you'll find places to eat, places to drink, places to shop, including my favourite, the Royal Caribbean logo shop, which sells souvenirs and t-shirts and hats with the Royal Caribbean or your ship logo on it. On the left there, we had guest services, but over on the right, we'll just head in and take a quick look at Boleros. Boleros is a Latin-themed lounge bar, but there is a small stage in here, and so at night they would have Latin dancing. There was also jazz music one day, and big band music at another day as well, so a popular venue. And it's also a venue that you won't find on any of the other ships that Royal Caribbean regularly bases out of LA. Here in the middle of the Esplanade, these 2 islands will be used on sea days for more selling space for things like jewelry and watches. But let's head in here on the right to Café Promenade. That's another of the inclusive dining venues, and here you can get, as well as tea and coffee on the right hand side, you will find some sandwiches, snacks, cakes, things like that. And yes, there's even cookies. Now, right next door to Cafe Promenade is Sorrento's, another inclusive dining venue. It's open from late morning until about 2 or 3 a.m., depending on the day. Opposite, we've got La Patisserie, which is basically a coffee shop, and I think this is what's probably going to turn into Starbucks after the renovation in spring of 2026. Amber and Oak is the English pub. It's one of the first bars to open every morning on the ship at 9 a.m, and it also serves light bites. In the evening, you might find a pub quiz in here or a guitar duo performing. We'll continue heading forward on deck 4, where we'll find more shops, including jewellery, clothing, beauty, and there's actually a Swarovski shop as well. That's one of the featured ones. This class of ship really does have a lot to offer. And on the right-hand side, we're going to see Music Hall, which is a venue that you'll find in some of the Quantum ships and some of the Oasis class as well. It's split over 2 levels and it's multi-purpose. So during the daytime, you might see things like dance classes, game shows, trivia quizzes, that kind of thing. And then in the evening, I saw a karaoke party, music, bands playing, and even an adult game show. We're almost at the front of the ship, and here we're going to find the Royal Theatre, and that's where production shows took place. There was 2 in our cruise, one called Live Love Legs, which was singing and dancing, and then the other one was called The Beautiful Dream, which is more like a Broadway-style show. Entertainment in Royal Caribbean is always a highlight. Right next door to the theatre, we've got the Crown Lounge, and this is for members of the Crown and Anchor Society who are at least diamond or higher status. Now, we actually achieved this. The cruise that we took just before this was in Celebrity, a sister line of Royals, and they now do a status match. So we splurged on a suite, it got us a lot of points, and we got to elite status, and that matches to diamond. This lounge is open for a few hours in the morning, serving breakfast items. Throughout the day, you'll find fruit, cookies, and coffee machine, which you can use anytime. And then in the evening, again, it's open for a few hours, serving some small bites prior to dinner. Well, that's us covered, I think, everything on deck 4. So we're going to head up these stairs 1 level up to deck 5. We're still at the forward end of the ship, and a fan favorite or frequent cruiser favorite on Royal Caribbean is, of course, the Schooner Bar. And right next to that, we have Chops Grill, Royal Caribbean's premium steakhouse, which is a specialty restaurant and does have an extra cover charge. Well, back at the Schooner Bar in the evenings, you'll often find a pianist here entertaining the fans. And during the daytime, they'll often use this venue for trivia and quizzes in the morning. By the way, if you want to find the bar menus, they're on my website, letsallcruise.com. And here on the left, we've got Izumi, very popular sushi bar available on many Royal Caribbean ships. There's going to be some changes coming here when the ship gets amplified in 2026. I'll tell you more about that later. But let's head towards the front of Izumi, which has this great view looking out over the Royal Esplanade downstairs. So the Esplanade on this ship and other Quantum class ships is over 2 levels. On the other ships with the Promenade, there might be 2 levels in some bases, but it's mainly a single level, especially in ships like Navigator. But don't worry, they still have the ball drop at midnight on Sail Away Day. So next door to Izumi, heading forward, we've got the Bionic bar, which is a really cool feature available on some Royal Caribbean ships. It's the robot bartender. It's pretty cool. You just walk up to an iPad, you select from a huge menu of both alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, and you place your order, you swipe your card, and then you just wait a few minutes. It tells you your place in line, and then it lets you know when it's making your drink. You can watch that happen, and then it'll pour out a drink. Once that's done, you just walk up, swipe your card again, and then the glass moves smoothly towards you. Directly opposite Bionic Bar, on the other side of the upper tier of the Esplanade, we've got Wonderland. This is another specialty restaurant, but this one is going away. This will be gone as of spring of 2026, and in its place, it's going to be replaced by Izumi Hibachi, which is a teppanyaki-style restaurant that you've seen on some other ships, including Carnival Forense, which is also based out of Los Angeles. I actually sailed on that ship last year on her inaugural 5-day sailing out of LA. And I do have a video of that cruise on my channel if you want to check it out. I really wanted to try and compare, Carnival, which I'd never been on before, with some of the other lines like Royal that I've sailed on a few times. While I enjoyed that cruise, I have to say this ship blows it out of the water, and Royal Caribbean is definitely more my style. So we're getting close to the aft here on deck 5. First up, we've got Jamie's Italian. That's another specialty restaurant, but it too is going away. It's going to be replaced by Royal Caribbean's other Italian restaurant, Giovanni's Table. Next to that, we've got Vintages, the wine bar. Well, we're just about to check out 270, the unique venue at the back of the ship. But before we do that, let's check out Cafe 270. This is another inclusive dining option that's open in the mornings for breakfast and in afternoons for light bites. So you'll find fruit, snacks, sandwiches, soups, salads, and there's also a coffee bar where you can get, Starbucks style coffees for an extra charge. But if you just want regular coffee, you will find that available free of charge across many different places in the ship. Okay, let's head into 270. It's 270 degrees because of the amazing view right at the very aft of the ship. And this venue is multi-purpose. So you can come here just during the day if you want to chill. The bars will be open on sea days and you get this spectacular view of the ocean. So like I said, this is a multi-function venue. So during the daytime, I've seen dance classes. I also attended a veterans tribute. But at night, they transform this venue. It is a performance venue as well. And they marry live action performers with the most incredible technology. You might have noticed the TV screens on the robot arms. We're going to see those in a little bit more detail here. It is impressive how creative Royal Caribbean are and how they think outside the box. These robot arms are $750,000 each, and the entire venue was $33 million to construct. I do think the entertainment on Royal Caribbean is amazing, and I think this venue is just trying to do something different, and it's a very cool spectacle. It's definitely worth seeing. But I did find or hear some people saying on the ship that they thought some of these shows were boring. And yeah, I can see where they're coming from. I think you will probably see them once and then that's it. You're good. You're done. But we're not done on the tour yet. There is still more to see on this incredible ship. And you remember the glass box I showed you earlier? Well, this is the opposite view, looking up to that. On some of the older ships, they had what they call a centrum, which was a gigantic atrium, not dissimilar to what I just showed you there. I do love how ambitious they are with the design of their ships, and I want to be impressed. I want to have a memorable experience. Well, let's head out these doors. We're on deck 5 and we're going to check out the Promenade deck. It's one of the things I love about cruising is just walking up and down next to the ocean and taking in the view. Well, unfortunately, and this is one of the few things that I didn't like about this ship, there really isn't a whole lot to see. Most of the view is blocked by the lifeboats. Don't get me wrong, I think lifeboats are great, excellent things to have just in case. But yeah, it does impact, the enjoyment of this space. Now, there are a couple of seating areas on both sides, but this is actually dedicated to Jamie's Italian, the restaurant. So in theory, you can eat out here, but I never actually saw that happening, so I don't know how often that's actually done. And if it's not used a lot, they should just convert it into another lounge seating area. Now, there is some comfy seats where you do get an ocean view, so it's not all bad. And by the way, those chairs are really, really comfortable. Just a perfect shape, great for relaxing outside on the deck. Now, there's a recent trend in some newer cruise ships like Carnival Firenze, Norwegian Bliss, and others where the promenade deck is actually much wider, has lots of seating areas, and sometimes there's even bar and food venues as well. Norwegian Bliss is actually a ship I'm going to be sailing on very soon, so if you do want to see a review of that, hit the subscribe button. And if you're enjoying this video, please do consider subscribing. It's completely free, but at the very least, if you could press the like button, that would be amazing. It does make a difference and just helps more people find this video. Well, we're back inside. We've come down the staircase down to deck 3, and we're at the forward end where we're going to find Music Hall. But this is also where the casino starts, and this is probably the largest casino I've ever seen on a cruise ship. There's many slot machines, as you can see, but there's also many table games. Now, smoking is allowed in the casino, however, they do have a non-smoking area. One of my favorite cruise lines is actually Celebrity, and I actually only recently realized that on Celebrity, all the casinos are 100% smoke-free. Pretty cool. Now we're heading aft, and at the back here on both levels 3 and 4, we've got the main dining room. But it's actually split into 4. So there's 2 on level 3, 2 on level 4. And the only difference actually is, I mean, they give them different names, but it's just the design and the decor. The menu is going to be exactly the same. Now, which dining room you end up in will depend on whether you select early or late or my time dining. So on our sailings, early dining was at 5 p.m., late dining was at 7:30 p.m., and my time dining, where you can basically pick your own time, that's available between 6:30 and 9 p.m. As soon as you book your cruise, I recommend you go onto the Royal Caribbean website or download the mobile app and select whether you want the early or late or my time dining, and you can actually start making reservations for my time as well. But don't worry if you can't find my time slots that work for you. As soon as you board, just go to the main dining room, speak to a manager, and they should be able to find you some better times that work for you. One of the things I really enjoy about sailing on the Royal Caribbean is just that their staff are great. They're always very professional and friendly, so it's a nice vibe, a nice atmosphere on board, and this ship was no exception. What about the food? The food is pretty good. I really enjoyed my meals. I actually had Indian curries every night because it was a great opportunity to do so. But if you want to see lots of photos from the main dining room and the menus, and also the allergen guides that you can now access, they're all on my website, letsallcruise.com. So what did I think of Ovation of the Seas? Well, honestly, I loved it. I really liked this ship. It's modern, it looks great, it's got so many things to see and do. And in fact, I loved it so much that I've booked my next cruise on her sister ship, Quantum of the Seas, which is also going to be sailing out of Los Angeles. If you want to see that review when it comes out, definitely hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know about the difference between all 4 of the ships that Royal Caribbean has in Los Angeles, go to my website. I've got a great blog where I detail all the differences between all 4 of the ships that sail here. But Royal Caribbean is not your only option out of Los Angeles, and I've sailed on quite a few of the alternatives. So for your next video for my channel, do you want to watch Carnival or Princess? The choice is yours. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Scott, and this is my channel, Let's All Cruise.